Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Meet NBPD. I'm Chief Cordeiro of the New Bedford Police Department, and we're down here in the south end of New Bedford with an incredible view behind us of our waterfront and our nostalgic lighthouse. With me today is Lieutenant Nate Rodriguez, newly appointed Administrative Assistant to the Chief and Public Information Officer. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you, Chief. I want to welcome everybody this afternoon to this episode of Meet NBPD. We're going to be with the Traffic Division. As the Chief stated, I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Rodriguez, been on the job 14 years, and as of January, I became the newly appointed Public Information Officer and the Administrative Assistant to the Chief.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, Nate, not only in your new position, but also as our new co-host of Meet NBPD. And today, folks, we're going to give you a glimpse of what our traffic unit on the Bedford Police Department does. So we're going to walk over there and get to know our commander, Sergeant Scott Liberty. So let's go over there and chit-chat with him. Well, folks, we're here with Sergeant Scott Liberty, the commander of our traffic unit. Scott, welcome to the show, Meet NBPD. Could you just tell us a little bit about the traffic unit and what you and your men do on a daily basis?
The traffic unit consists of three of us, myself and two officers. We go out, we enforce all the motor vehicle laws by state and city ordinance. We also do all the parades, motorcycles, fatalities for motor vehicle accidents, snow bans. We take care of that also.
Sergeant Liberty, can you explain some of the specialized training that the Traffic Division has?
Some of the training is you got to be certified for to operate the radar and the laser, the LiDAR guns for speed analysis. We also have specialization to operate the motorcycles, and we also have trained accident reconstructionists, which consists of approximately 6 weeks of training to be certified to be a reconstructionist.
Sergeant Liberty, could you give us an explanation as we've been moving as a department to a CompStat database-driven police department and how that impacts traffic? I know you utilize CompStat data, you're looking at information from the state, accidents, intersections that have high rate of accidents and fatalities, and how you take that data and utilize your law enforcement capacity within your unit to address those issues, from speeding to sign violations, etc.
Oh, yes, Chief. We received the documentation from patrol with regards to different accidents that happen throughout the city. We calculate the hot spots, and then we enforce the motor vehicle infractions that may have occurred, whether it be stop signs, red lights, speeding. We put out our speed trailers to notify the public of the speed within that area.
Sergeant Liberty, can you give us can you explain some of the initiatives that we have here to make it safe for either pedestrians, bicyclists, or operators of motor vehicles?
Yes, we receive grants from the state and from the feds. We enforce pedestrian bicycle, crosswalks, seatbelt infractions, texting and driving, things of that nature.
Well, that is great information, Sergeant Liberty. The work that your officers are doing is, of course, incredibly important for public safety, to ensure that folks are wearing a seatbelt, kids are riding in cars in their car seats, folks aren't texting. How difficult is it to manage, and how is it impacting our society with this distracted driving? These things that we carry with us, these funny little things, I don't know how we did without them, these cell phones. How is this impacting our operators and public safety?
I think it's impacting us greatly. A lot of the accidents that we're seeing today is because of the fact that motorists are being impeded with so many objects within the vehicle, whether it be radios, TVs, now it's cell phones and texting. I also think there's a misconception on some of the motorists' part. They think that if they're stopped at a red light that they can text, whereas they can't. That's a violation. You must be parked in order to be texting or using your cell phone. So I think that's part of our issue.
Sergeant Liberty, how important is it for pedestrians to utilize the crosswalks or bicyclists to utilize the designated areas for them when they're operating a bicycle?
That's very important, Lieutenant. They should be utilizing all the crosswalks. That way, if they should happen to be struck by a motorist, they are clearly in the right where they're supposed to be. There's also laws that the motorists are supposed to obey with regards to seeing pedestrians crossing within a crosswalk. As far as the bicycles go, they should be utilizing the bike lanes specifically marked for them, because motorists are not allowed to be within that bike lane, and the motorists can also be cited for a violation for that as well.
So, well, Sergeant Liberty, that's an incredible amount of information that you've given us. I first want to say I want to appreciate the work that you're doing there every day since you've taken command of that unit. You're taking it to another level with our community outreach service, our initiatives, and some of the points that you make today. I just want our viewers to understand how important that is. Texting and driving leads to injuries and death. Drinking and driving leads to injuries and death. Folks, if you're walking, use the crosswalks. That way, cars can see you, you're visible. If you're driving and someone's in a crosswalk, please stop. This is about saving lives, and if we all do our part, it becomes a safer place for all of us to live. So this is a great opportunity for us now to go meet with Officer Brian DeSanjos, one of the latest members of your unit, the traffic division, and let's get some tips from him on what he's looking for when he stops a motor vehicle and some of his other work that he does and training that he has.
Speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Always lock it up.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hi, I'm Taya Leone, and you're watching New Bedford Cable Network. Good for you.
Well, here we are with Officer Brian DeSanjos, one of our latest members of the Traffic Division. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you.
Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been a police officer for 13 years, and I was recently put into the Traffic Division about a year ago.
Officer DeSanjos, could you expound a little bit about what you've done on the job prior to coming to the Traffic Division, some of the assignments, experiences, and maybe even a little bit about your personal life, things like to do off the job to blow off steam?
Prior to the assignment, I was working midnights in the downtown sector. I built my resume by going to classes for accident reconstruction and LiDAR certified, radar certified, and auto work. I coach kids soccer, baseball.
Officer DeSanjos, what do you like about the unit? And can you explain some of the experiences you've had since you've been in the unit?
Well, I like doing the traffic stops. I enjoy it. I enjoy investigating the accidents. That's something I always wanted to do when I came in here, watching the senior officers doing it, and I pursued that, and that's why I wanted to go into this unit.
Officer DeSanjos, so you've got a difficult job, to say the least. I believe the statute is one of the second most difficult and dangerous things that police officers do on a daily basis, stopping cars. Is that right? And what are some of the things that concern you when you're stopping cars on a daily basis?
Correct. It's one of the dangerous parts of our jobs, the traffic stops. The hardest thing is you don't know who you're stopping, what kind of day they're having, or what their intentions are when we're out of the vehicle and they're in their vehicle.
Officer DeSanjos, can you walk us through what you would do during a traffic stop, please?
Sure, not a problem.
Warranty, plus extended warranties are available for 2,000 miles.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you, sir?
Can you just shut your car off?
Yeah, no problem.
Sir, I'm stopping you because I noticed that you were texting and driving. Do you have your license and registration on you?
Yeah, do you mind if I go to my glove compartment and grab it?
Sure.
This is a mobile data terminal, and this allows us access to the Registry Motor Vehicle database so we can check for licenses if they're active, registration, see if your insurance is active on your car. It also gives us access to the NCIC computer, the national computer, to see if you're wanted from California, let's say, or you're missing from another state. A lot of information here. Is that correct, Officer DeSanjos?
Yes, it is, Chief.
And this is a great tool. As Officer DeSanjos is running this through here, we can also see the picture of your license to make sure the person that's in the car is who they say they are. So we get to see their photo up on the terminal. You have some other equipment in here, Officer DeSanjos. While we're waiting for the computer to come back with if this person is licensed or not, could you explain some of the equipment that you have in your cruiser that's unique from other cruisers?
Well, my cruiser's equipped with a dash-mounted radar gun. It also has the thing for the message board that's in the back that you seen earlier that said NBPD on it. And our cars just got equipped with printers because the traffic guys are going to be giving out e-citations instead of handwriting citations.
Well, that's new technology for us here, but in the West Coast it's been here for a long, long time. Could you explain what e-citations are to our audience? They may not be familiar with it.
The e-citations is a new thing that the registry is implementing. Instead of handwriting the citations, we will do it all through the computer electronically, and I have a printer in here. They'll print up the ticket, and I'll give it to the operator.
So this is pretty neat because it's going to save officers a lot of time from handwriting, and also everyone has a different type of penmanship. God knows I've got some terrible penmanship. Is that right, Officer DeSanjos?
Correct, Chief. That's one of the biggest things. It's hard to read the citation, so this way now everybody can read it clearly.
And it saves a whole lot of time, and you're able to give a lot more tickets. Officer DeSanjos, you were talking about the message board input on the top of your dashboard here. Could you tell us the benefit of that and what you could do with it? I know it has the message on the back of the cruiser now that says NBPD. What other uses do you have for that?
There's other messages we can put. Click on a ticket. When it's raining, we can warn the motorists to put their their lights on when their wipers are on. We have messages that says no texting while driving, no drinking and driving. It also becomes an arrow board and warns the motorist that something's up ahead.
Well, that's great for detouring. That's pretty. It's a great use of technology that we're able to do it. You just mentioned about wipers and raining. That's fairly still a new law. Could you tell our audience about that? A lot of folks might not even know about it.
Yes, I think that came out last year. So as long as it's raining and you have your wipers on, your lights should be on along with the wipers.
That's a great law, folks, because it enhances your visibility when visibility is greatly dampened by rain. That's one. How are we making out with this guy here? Does he have a license or not?
Yep.
So it looks like he has an active license. So we're going to go back. I would presume you're going to give him back his license to registration. But before we go to this MDT, I don't know if we talked about it. All the calls for service, you can be dispatched here silently without going on the radio. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you also have the capability of adding notes on there and communicating with the dispatchers silently through the keyboard instead of going on a mic, preventing from someone listening on the radio of information you don't want them to know.
That's true. It also saves airtime in case there is an officer that needs help. He has the right to the air.
That's a very good point, Officer DeSanjos. Officer safety is incredibly important when we need the airwaves. So as we're getting prepared to go back to give the license or registration, what do you expect, and you want our viewers to know, that they should do when you return back, when an officer returns back to hand them their license registration or a citation?
So when I go back to hand him his information back, I expect him to still have his hands on the wheels, no furtive movement, not reaching for anything, just sitting there waiting until I arrive with his information.
Sure. That's great information for our folks because we want them to be safe and we want our officers to be safe. And when we all work together, it makes for this transaction to be a more pleasant one. So let's go do that now.
Here you go, sir. Here's your license registration. It's just a warning for today. Just make sure you don't text and drive from now on, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
You too. Officer DeSanjos, did he follow your instructions the way you wanted him to?
Yes, he did, Lieutenant. You listened, and you were respectful. You followed all my instructions.
Okay, can you explain just the importance of that to our viewers?
It's important that you follow the instructions. This way we know what you're doing, and it doesn't arise any suspicion and make an easy situation go worse.
Sandra, you talked earlier about some of the training you had with accident reconstruction. Could you tell our viewers what that is and how much training that you had to undergo to attain that certification and be able to do those types of investigations?
Well, accident reconstruction, we come out during a fatality or a serious bodily injury accident, and we try to reconstruct the accident to find out what actually occurred. The training consisted of 6 weeks, 40 hours a week of training heavily intense in math and science.
So basically, you use math and science to figure out speed of the vehicle, direction of the vehicle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Officer Dos Anjos, can you illustrate for our viewers what an accident reconstruction actually entails?
Yes, I can.
It's a great idea, Lieutenant Rodriguez, to have Officer Dos Anjos illustrate to our viewers all his training and experience and what it takes to investigate an unfortunate motor vehicle fatality. So please join us right after the break. We'll see you then.
Any questions?
What kind of service plan does this come with?
Unlimited.
Can I keep my same phone number?
Absolutely.
How do I change the ringtone?
Just hook it up to your computer.
Does it have a camera? What's the warranty? Does it come in silver? Can I put my party shuffle on this? Does it have a 3.5 millimeter headset jack? You sell a lot of these?
It's the one I carry.
You ever get those phantom vibrations in your pocket?
Any questions?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas. Get involved. Get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back, everyone. What we have here is a motor vehicle accident versus a bicyclist. And this is why we emphasize utilizing the crosswalks and bike paths to avoid accidents like this. Officer Dos Anjos, can you walk us through an investigation when we have a fatality, either pedestrian or bicyclist, utilizing accident reconstruction?
Sure. Here we have a bicycle that got struck by a vehicle. The bicycle just jumped out into the road, nowhere near a crosswalk or a bike path. Now I'm going to do some measurements to see where in the road we are. I'm going to do some vehicle assessments to see what kind of damage the vehicle has. There'll be some photographs taken of the scene, and the vehicle will be towed to a storage garage so that we can do a further detailed inspection of the vehicle, whether they're tires, brakes, if there's anything on their windshield that's obstructing their view. We'll just go more in detail at the garage out of the weather. So now I'm going to take some measurements of the scene. If there's any tire marks, I'll take some measurements of the tire marks. This way later on I can do some calculations to see how fast the vehicle was going and if he attempted using his brakes or not.
These are very complex cases, as we can see, and Officer Dos Anjos has just given us a very simple glimpse of the very complex equation that he takes to find out the speed of vehicles and the direction. Tire threads, damage to the vehicle, damage to the bike, distances. It's very complex, and there's a lot of math and science. And that's not even the easiest part of the job. Am I right?
Correct.
So the toughest part of the job is the officer that's got to go to this child's home and give that terrible news to the family. Is that right? That's a very difficult part of our job. Am I right?
Correct. I think that's probably the most difficult part of this job, is going to tell a family member that they lost someone.
It is very difficult, and I have had to do that myself, as all of us have. And I was recently asked on another show if we know we have to stay kind of stoic and robotic, but the reality is we're human beings and we have feelings, and then we all have children, and it's hard to hold back those emotions when we're given that news. And I think sometimes it's even favorable to show that emotion, that we're suffering and grieving with the folks. But the most important for us to take away from this today is prevention. These accidents can be prevented, and now good work of our traffic unit and our officers across the department, stopping vehicles, trying to get people to wear their seatbelts. What's some of the other things that we want them to do to save lives?
Slow down, just pay attention to the road instead of with their radio or they have cell phones. If there's pedestrians in the crosswalk, stop for them, let them cross.
And please, no texting. Distracted driving is one of the major causes of accidents, as speed is to fatalities and injuries, a direct correlation. So please stay safe out there, and let's respect one another. Someone's in a crosswalk, let's be courteous and give them the right of way. And when we're at the light, let's put those cell phones away.
Well, Chief, we just wanted to give our viewers a glimpse of the importance of utilizing the designated areas to walk, ride a bicycle, and obviously the importance of not texting and driving and paying attention to the roadways. I hope that we were able to give a glimpse of how important that is to everyone out there. Thank you very much.
That's a great point, Lieutenant Rodriguez. This is a great episode to really highlight the men in our traffic division, the hard work that they're doing every day out there to keep you safe. It's a complex job. It's demanding and sometimes not well taken by the public when they're giving you a ticket. But that ticket may save your life or someone else. Well, this is a great show, getting to know our folks in our traffic division. Until the next time, on the next episode of Meet NBPD, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you. See you then.